Okay, let's start now. So you see here, right?
Yep.
So where were we last class? What we looked at it. I made another few stuff. Okay.
அங்க GitHubல இன்னும் போட்டிருக்கேளா?
அது இன்னும் sorry, I couldn't update it. I'll update it today because
Okay,
last
okay. No problem.
I was busy. Got
No
occupied.
problem, sir. No problem, sir.
So இப்போ இங்க பார்த்தீங்கன்னா last time what we have seen is operations, file operations எல்லாம் we have seen.
உங்க accent படி பார்த்தா you look like a Brahmin guy, sir.
Okay, thank you.
அப்படியா? நிஜமாவா?
இல்ல, I am not a Brahmin, but I
But
get into that
your
accent.
accent.
Yes.
அதான்.
Because of the people colleagues இல்லையா, பேசி பேசி அது அப்படியே வந்துருது.
Okay, okay.
Quite often
So
invariably
sorry, sir.
manage செயல் மாதிரி அது வருது. And people tend to mistake because of my name and the personality. Raghavan பேரும் வச்சுட்டு people tend to, many people have asked me, are you a Brahmin? It's been many years. I said no, I am not. So the taster
சொல்லுங்க
groove is what we have seen last time, right?
ஆமா.
Oh, I haven't shared it. I'll share it with you. You can play around with it. So now
Sir, tell me one thing. For இதுல வந்து when I went into GitHub,
Yep.
when I look into install and then how do I get into the shell? Okay, Groovy console is what I'll be using, sir. That's fine. Shell though I
You
will
can do
not be
Groovy shell.
using.
Similarly, how you do Groovy,
Groovy shell,
console,
right?
you can do Groovy shell.
And Groovy REPL. Okay, got you.
Exactly. Nothing, no difference. From the command
That's
line, command prompt, anywhere you can invoke it. So
Fine,
you
sir.
can do it,
Fine.
right? So
Fine, got
this, we will see. Okay, the same file operation what you have seen last time. If you look at it, what is the last time we have seen is file operation. Let me
Yep.
open that. We were just able to read it and print the line, and also we were able to sort it in the collection and all that, right?
Yes.
We had a list of file, Groovy file, we had only fruits, apple, banana, etc. So we were able to print it and we were able to list the size, and then we were able to sort it. Sort and fruit
Yes.
list. This is what we have
Yes.
done.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
in this case 2, what I have done, there is something called a G string. I'll tell you that. Exactly what I am doing. See, if you see here, difference between this and that is, we were simply printing, adding to a collection is different. In this closure, we were just printing it. But in this test2, the new file, apart from printing, we are also adding a number. This will also be important whenever you want to take the number into account. So we need to have a counter, right? So what I do here, I define a number. I'll keep it context here. We will define a number. Def, we know that it's a dynamic type. You can also define it as int. That means what? You are strongly defining a type that it will only have the value int. You cannot assign any other value to that variable. So if you say def number is initialized to 0, and every time when you loop in, you say plus plus and you add a number, dollar number. When you do that, it will print the value of that variable, right? So we do this the same. Also, if you look at it, the same file. So if I have data.txt, if you look at it, there are first line and second line. Instead of fruits.txt, I made a different file. So we'll do Groovy 7, same 7 I have got it. You see here, it reads the file, but why does it have line 3?
That's because I think
Empty line.
it's empty line. So it is.
Yes.
It has seen it as an empty line.
It, you see here, there's an empty line, right? So that's the reason we get that. So we can print out, manipulate that. We will see when we learn about the string methods or anything, we will look at it, right? So this is what is the next improved version of it. And then, so this is printing a list. We will see a list and a collection. Just again a taste of it, I want to make it. Then we will have a detailed look at each of the individual aspects, right? What do we do? So how do we define a list in Groovy? It's very simple. In Java, it is very different, where we need to create an instance of an array list class and then call add method, etc. Here, it's similar to arrays in Java. Within a pair of square brackets, you define a list of values as comma separated and assign it to a variable that becomes a list, right? So that is a list. Let's take a look at it here. Let me open a new file. Yes. Say, let's say dev fruits, right? I do this apple, banana, jackfruit. Print fruits. You get it? It's a list. You don't need to have the ceremony of new list, array list, etc. See, Groovy was introduced to promise you to make your life easy and better, right? Anything within the square bracket, you define a list of strings. Obviously, you need to define as a string. Without a single quote, it throws an error. Let's assume you can't do this. See, it throws an exception because it takes as a property,
No property.
right? And as long as, let's say you have this.
Definition apple equal to apple.
Yes. Now you look at it, it shows for apple, the error, right? If I do it, it shows for banana because it doesn't find a property called banana. But
Correct.
this is a
Yep.
pretty long way. Why should I go or roam or roundabout, right? This is another way of dealing with it. So you don't need all this gimmicks, right? What you can
Yep.
do, you directly go here and make it as a list.
Agreed. But of course, during real-time programs, you will have variables to be taking care of
Right,
this or
if you
something like
want
that.
it. So here
That is
fruits
assignment.
itself is a variable. So what do I do? Basically, we will be interested in getting to know the size of it, right? Groovy has a compact method named
Dot size.
size is a method. Another interesting feature in Groovy is you can call it as a property as well. Both works as the same,
Hmm.
right? This is just a taste. Just hold on further looking at the rest of the things, right? I just finished it off with that. So this is another interesting thing. How do you loop it? Here I have it. So for loop, for you don't need to declare any variable. Let's say fruit meaningfully. In fruits, in a keyword. In is a keyword. That's why it is syntax highlighted in different color. There is a closure and a variable. What you can do? Print or println fruit. It will print each fruit line by line. That means it's a very interesting feature. Please pay attention. This is a collection, right? Collection is nothing but a set of things, orderly set of items, set of entities, set of things. That's why it's a collection, right? Set of things.
Hmm.
You access the collection and loop each one at a time, right? This is what we do in a for. For is basically loop. You want to iterate a collection one at a time. What you want to do? You print. This is something like you get a hold of one item at a time. Whatever you want to do, you can do with it. Let's say you can item and then type fruit. You get this as well. Item fruit. Then you can do anything, println item size. What it's a string also has got a size method. Sorry, string has got a length method, not a size. Collection has got a size. String has got a length method. You see, size is 5.
Collection has got a size and string has got a
Yes.
length method.
Even you do this. See, I do fruit, not fruits, right? The size also is there in string, not to be bothered. But length is actual property from Java. See, I'm a Java guy. I got used to Java methods, right? You can do size as well. But size is not a property for string. Size is a method, right? But whereas for a collection, we can call it as a property. You know that, right? This is a method, size. Whereas this is the property called size. That means what? You don't have a parenthesis. If you invoke it with the parenthesis, that's a method. You are invoking a method. But in Groovy, I'll tell you, this is not a property. Actually, this is a method. But Groovy has got not a property. This is also a method. Why? Because Groovy has an easy way. If at all a method doesn't take any parameter, you can omit the parenthesis. Groovy is syntactic sugar. I told you, right? It makes your life easy, right? Omit the parenthesis if a method doesn't take any parameter. This is because of that aspect we call that. Got it? So you can do, say, I can also show you that, say, let's say def hello world. I'm just printing this, right? Println hello world. And how do I call hello world? What happened? No property. I think it's because of the collection. I'll help you with that. This is because Groovy is syntactic sugar, right? I'll make it better. Probably there is an error in the Groovy console, due to which only we are able to iterate. Maybe let's finish with the collection, right? Because
Okay.
we had treat it as a parameter, due to which we are able to make it, right? Right. Okay. So the same thing I've done it here. Here, this is a different example. What I'm doing, I'm invoking a method like how fruit.size we called. Here as well we call, there is a class, list of classes, string, list, and file. They are classes, API classes. We loop through, we take them into a list called classes. We loop through each at a time and then print a class dot package dot name, right? So what it does, you need to understand, because it's a Groovy syntax. When you call this, it indeed calls a method name. If you access as a property also, it's called Groovy beans, we call it as. It indeed calls a method. If at all there is a method called get package, it calls a get package method. And then get name means it calls a get name method, right? If you look at it, it prints this. See? String class is in package of groovy.lang. Util class is in the package of java.util. File class is in a package of java.io. So it brings the package name of each class, right? So one other important thing, why we define it as class, CLAZZ. Why not SS? In Java world,
I was about to ask you.
class is a keyword. It will give an error. You can't use it as a variable, right? Something you need to make it so that it doesn't look like, generally we do it class because it sounds rhyming. This is like you find it difficult to pronounce class, right? Classes. Rather, it becomes easy to pronounce class. That's why we make it. So internally, you can make, see, I'll tell you, this calls indeed a method. Dot get package is a method name. Indeed, Groovy invokes it. And get name of the method. That's what it calls, right? I can show you in a Groovy class method. Let's go to that class. First, let's look at it. How do you declare a class? This is simple syntax as in Java. Class book, name of a class. And then I have a title, property called title. Book will have a title. And then I have two methods, set title and get title. So this is a very convenient method in Java Beans technology. Java, any class, if you want to make it as a bean, that means it will have a property and a set of methods to access it. So this is a getter, this is a setter. Sorry, this is a constructor, I'm sorry. This is a getter. Constructor is a special method that will help you to prepare an object at the time an instance is created. So whenever you want to create an instance, you will call new. New is an operator, keyword in Groovy, Java, all the object-oriented languages. C++, in C++ it has been derived. So here you define a constructor, is a special method. It takes an argument, you set it to the property, right? This method will be invoked whenever you call the new instance, right? So you define a class variable name, something similar to int a equal to 5. How do you instantiate it? Name of the variable data type is book, and say Gina is an instance name, I have it. And this is a sample, I take it from Groovy in action as a book, right? New book of, I give a title. That means whenever I'm instantiating, I want a book to have a title. See, will there be a book without a title? Yeah, book.
No.
Most likely no. So we want to ensure whenever anybody creates a book, at least minimalistic, they should have a title. Of course, an author as well, right? Etc. etc. But bare minimum, it should have a title. Author can get changed, author can be modified, etc. So we want to do it. And what do we do here? I'll show you that. Let's run this example and I tweak it and show you. And then what do we do? Get title. See, I'm able to access it with dot title. I'm accessing as a property, and I'm also calling it as a getter method, right? And I'm doing this via printing the entire object. Let's come to that a little later. First, pay attention. Get title, get title. This is what we do. Forget about this. So get title is a property, I'm accessing it. Get title is a method, I'm calling that. Both do the same thing. It prints the value of it, right? I'll tweak it a bit here. I make a println statement, right? Book is instantiated. Just one line, I'm adding it. See what happens. Whenever I call a new method, it calls this constructor. That's a proof. So you get this statement, and then object is created, right? See, what if you want to call one more? See here, just in case. Obviously, you can't run this, it'll give an error. Why?
Already it's declared.
Right? Gina 2, I can call that. Sorry. It'll give that current scope already contains a variable of the name Gina. So I create a new variable. Because I have it one down. Gina new. See, book is instantiated comes twice. Because I call it 2 times, right? Every time you invoke a new operator, the constructor is getting called. That's a proof. Similarly, you put here.
But how do I know this is the constructor on top here? So we have private string title. So basically you created a string called title. And
string is a property. The title is a
string
property.
is a property.
That's a good question.
And how?
Constructor will have a return type as the object.
Right.
Here you say string. This will be the exact name of the class. And it does not have any return type. It's more like Java's from the Java world, right?
Yep.
So from the Java world, it's exactly because Groovy runs on top of Java. It's an object-oriented language. So constructor is a special method. It will have the name of the method, not return type. Method name is nothing but the same name of the class, not the return type. It doesn't have any return type. It's the name of the method. That is book. Only then when you call new book, this is getting called. Right? Here get title is a name. Constructor doesn't have a return type. That's why we don't have any.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
It's as good as typing as void, but not even void. Sorry. I'm giving you an analogy. It is as good. Void means what? It doesn't return anything. But constructor does not even have a return type called void. Okay? So now let's invoke it. Get title. You see here what happens. Why this get title is invoked twice it comes. Book is instantiated. Get title. And then we have Groovy in action. Right? And once again, for get title I'm calling, so it is called and Groovy in action come, right? So that is a proof that even though you call the title as a property, as I just told you a while ago, if there is a method named get title, this will indeed invoke a method. Did I tell you? Class.package means get package.
Yep.
So that's a proof that it calls this, right?
Yes, sir.
Right? So let's do one more thing. Let's just comment it out and then run it. What happens?
You'll get a problem.
Why?
No signature method. Correct.
Only for
Because,
get title, right?
Yes, only for get title. Yes.
Now what happens? Somewhere else I'm calling. That's the reason it is. Forget about it. I'm calling it somewhere else. That's why I get that error. Where is it? Line number. Where am I calling this? Okay. I do have it here. Okay. The title backwards.
What is get at?
Sorry,
What is get at?
just a minute.
No problem.
Here you go. So another important thing is this is in terms of Groovy Beans. I'll tell you that as well. Groovy Beans helps you. This is optional. That gives you by default. Get title method is available. Get title method is available for you by Groovy automatically. You don't. This is a ceremony. As I told you, Groovy makes your life easy. In Java, you are supposed to have it. You cannot call this. This will throw an error. But in Groovy, it indeed calls a method. It calls a method called get title, right? Yes. Now your questions, please.
No, what is get at?
Where is get at?
No, one of the errors it came out. Get at.
Oh,
Is there a
which line
syntax?
number? Which line number you are calling? That's because, maybe that's because of that. See, let me do this once again. No signature of the method book.getTitle is applicable for argument types. Possible solutions get at means it is giving you a suggestion. Maybe you can try invoking get at in a string class. It is giving you a hint, possible solutions. It is helping you to find a nearby match, an alternate. Okay. Okay. So this is what it is. I'll also show you the Groovy Beans. Maybe I do it in the reverse order. The Groovy Bean is something like that. You declare a class. Same thing. Book bean I created as and just give a title. Do I have a getter or setter?
No, nothing.
Okay, before and I'll finish it. Assertion as well. Just give me a minute. Maybe I missed that. I should have gone in the order. Assert is a very elegant and powerful way of checking anything in the middle of your program. Assert of true. True is something like true, right? Assert 1 double equals 1. 1 equal to 1. If it is true, it doesn't do anything. It sits quietly. If something goes wrong, it will blow. Hey boss, you wanted me to assert something, but these two candidates are not matching with each other. So I'm raising an alarm. In the middle of the flow, you get an error. So this is a very powerful way of, it's an idiom in Java, right? From Java world, they have actually borrowed it. And then you declare def x equal to 1 and assert x double equals 1. You are asserting whether x is equal to 1 or not. And then def y equal to 1 and assert y equal. These two are same, but only difference is here you need to mandatorily have a semicolon. Why? Because that's a separator. Groovy, as we see, treats semicolon as optional, right? Gives you a way, it helps you to have an optional semicolon as long as there is only one statement executable.
One statement in the line.
If you want to club it up, you need to mandatorily have a separator, right? That is why, as of now, let me just comment it out. See here, it doesn't print anything. I'll just comment it out. See here, why it doesn't print anything? Because everything is fine.
Everything is fine, true.
Wrong. But you have, let me tell you here, I make it as 2. Let's say, for example, somewhere in the program, in the middle of it, the variable got a different value. I'm asserting, I want to ensure in the DB this value is set or not. Now it throws an error, right? That's what we're gonna look at it here. You see here, interesting and helpful stack trace when an assertion fails. Here also you see x double equal to 1, but this is 2 as false. This is what you are asserting, but the real-time value is 2, not 1. It helps you. That's what I make a statement here as well. You look at it. Interesting and helpful stack trace when an assertion fails. What am I doing? Def a equal to 5. Def means define, right? Define b equal to 9. And what am I doing? Assert b equals a plus a. A plus a is equal to what?
False.
So look at this here. This also gives me an understanding. Boss, the script fails at runtime, assertion failed. And what was the statement to be asserted? Equation to be asserted, or expression to be asserted? B double equals a plus a. At the runtime, I had the values as if I'm enacting a script speaking, right? As if I'm a script. I had the values applied to the variables a as 5 and 5. So 5 plus 5 is supposed to be 10, but I am expected to assert it to be against 9. So 10 doesn't match equal to 9. So I'm making it as false. I'm giving an error. Assertion failed. Got it? This is a very powerful feature. So you can assert anything which is equivalent. Mostly like assertion is towards a Boolean. The equation should be asserted to a true or false, because that's what you want to check it, right? At the end of it, any expression should be evaluated to true or false. If it is evaluated to true, assert doesn't do anything, sits quietly. If such comes as false, it gives an error, right? So let's look at it now. Assertion, Groovy beans. What am I doing? I declare a class called bookbean, string title. I don't do anything. This is the simplest class that you could ever have. But if you have a getter, setter, other methods, it becomes a class. If you don't have anything, just a property, that's a Groovy bean. It's akin to Java beans, but when you say Java bean, you should mandatorily have getter, setter methods. Otherwise, compiler will throw an error. But in Groovy, it comes as free, right? What am I doing now? Def Groovy book equal to new Groovy bean. I'm creating an object, as you see. Here, I don't have a constructor. Do I have a constructor here?
No.
Including constructor, it is given to me, right? Let me run step by step. Look at it here. I have an object, even though I don't print it, but I am given an object. Book bean at the rate of this is an instance number from JVM, right? Do I have a constructor? No, but because of a constructor is hidden constructor is given to me by default. Implicit constructor, a default constructor is given to me as free. I'm able to instantiate it. I can even print Groovy book. That's what it has done for me. See, now it doesn't come with the yellow color highlighted, right? That is also free for you. Correct? What if you don't do it? This is giving a result. When I print explicitly, it doesn't give me a result colon and yellow highlighted thing. That is Groovy console's way of magic way of doing it, right? Now let's assert something. We are setting the title, Groovy.set title. I'll walk you through. Do I have a method called set title?
No.
But I run this and I'm asserting it to be this. So it should give an error, right? I run this. Nothing wrong here. Assert becomes successful. And dot title equal to, I can assign that as well. Dot title equals to, I can assign a value to a property. That means it will indirectly invoke the set title method only. Got it? So Groovy conquers the world. It's a different title. And now at first it has got the, so you can do this. At first you print this. Get title. It gives Groovy in action, right? Here I'm invoking Groovy book. You're following me, right? At first the title was Groovy in action. I'm setting the value through a set title method. Next, I'm setting a value to a property that is exactly equivalent to calling a setter method. Both the ways you can do it. Either you can call a method. I told you for getter and setter, right? If it is something following with the equal symbol, it calls a setter. Groovy is intelligent enough to call a setter method. If you simply are invoking a method here in a println, it invokes a getter method. I have already shown you in the class example. Now I'm actually replacing the title from Groovy in action to Groovy conquers the world. That is why, though I call Groovy book, it just gives an object, and Groovy book.title and get title. Both the ways I'm invoking it, I get the same property, right? Twice. Groovy conquers the world. This is a Groovy bean. Got it? So this is a very interesting feature. You don't need to have anything. That's if you take a look, the Groovy class here, classes, that's what we had it. Dot title, as if as a Groovy dot get title, even though you don't have a get title, it used to call that method because of the Groovy bean, magic method being added, right? And what am I doing? I'm asserting here, get title equal to Groovy in action. So it's asserting, this is what I'm setting it here, and it runs successfully, right? So assertion did not fail. But a method here. Groovy title backwards is a method. It's an interesting string method I call. And I'm asserting it here. Was the book instance itself. String title equal to book.getTitle and return title.reverse. I call a string method called reverse. Reverse is a method in string class. So this will be reversed, and I'm asserting towards groovy in action in printed in reverse. I'm asserting whether it is printing it correctly or not, right? You can even print it if you want to take a look at it, right? What do you call? Not book, is Gina. So you assert this. It comes already, you get it here. Give title backwards, right? Where is it? Here it is. String title in reverse, groovy in action. Exactly, you are asserting it, whether it is coming in or not. Let's assume I set this with, for some reason I'm putting it as a semicolon, full stop, with a full stop. Now what will happen? This will be printing, but this method itself is, what happens? Unexpected input, get title.
No, you this thing, 2 colons, as in that one, where there. You made a mistake there.
Where?
So you need to remove the single quote.
Oh, my bad. Thank you. Good. Okay. Now what happens? See, string reverse and title came with a dot. See, I put a dot at the end. But while I'm asserting what it is saying, see, look at it. Groovy in action is what I'm asserting. I don't expect a semicolon. But the method API, what I'm calling from the database, from the resource, what you consume, it gives me with this dot. It's very case sensitive. It's very, very case sensitive, right? Let's assume instead of this, I call 2 lowercase as a method. See? All of them came in lowercase. Look at it. Groovy in action. You see that? Here I'm looking at it in sentence case, but it came now in lowercase. So why I'm taking quite often this assert example is, being a tester, you have to really get used to that. How many different ways you can assert a script, right? Anything of a property of a method, you can use it. Assert is a very powerful and handy feature.
Sir, not tester kadiyadu, by the way.
Oh, my bad. Not a tester. Whenever you are, so what I'm saying is, you invoke a scripting, right?
Yeah.
Especially for script when you are testing it. See, as I told you, Groovy lets you wear the hat of 3 people, as a BA, as a developer, as a tester.
Yes.
Anything you do it, because this is not for BA, not for the BA hat. That's what I mean to say. Most likely not for developer as well. Developer makes a minimal use of it. But when you wear the hat of a tester, you should be making the best use of it, asserting like anything. You have to make assert like very often, right? So this is how you assert. Okay. Now one other interesting feature, when you just print G now, right, as an object, what do you get it? It's just at the rate of, right? This is a default way of printing an object by Java. This is a hash code, unique number in the JVM assigned to each object, right? But why you don't get it in string? See, let's assume you print a string here, right? Println yes. Just gets groovy. Why it doesn't give you anything else at the rate of? Because in the toString there is a method. That is in Java, it is overridden by default. It will give you the actual value. Likewise, how do I want to override my method? There is a method called toString. You cannot directly, in Java we do this. At the rate of override, annotation you use, you can change the definition of a method. But in Groovy, that's why I wrote a different class here. There is a class called toString. In groovy.transform package, you need to import it and add this annotation to the class at the rate of toString. Right? I define a new class called book2 I'm doing the same thing, no change at all here. Just I add this annotation and I'm calling
Mhm,
a new book2 method constructor, book2,
mhm, mhm.
and I print G02, right? That is what you see book2 and Groovy2 in action. A improved way of how does it look like?
No, but it shouldn't. When you say print Gina 2, how?
Mhm.
Why did it give book 2 as well
Book2
when
is
you
the name
print
of the
it?
class. Book2 is the name of the class. Otherwise, how do you understand which class this object belongs to?
Yeah, but it should not be printing it, right? It should be printing only Groovy 2 in action.
No, no, that you can exclude it. See, typically it should print. See, you look at it here. I'm printing both the objects, Gina and Gina2.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
log, how do you distinguish it? Which object you look at it? Which object of class? Object of a class? Object of which class you are looking at it? So whether you like it or not, while debugging it, this is a very, very, very important, what you call, minimal expected feature of a two-string method.
Right.
Which the object belongs to which class? So class name is very vital, right?
Right.
So it gives this property. Got it?
Yep.
Okay. So that is with the flavor. Classes we have seen, Groovy Bean we have seen. Let's look at numbers. Assertion we have seen. The very interesting feature in Groovy is numbers are actually objects. Even though you type a number, that is also an object in Groovy. It has got the property. Let's see here you define both the numbers x, y. And you do x plus y equals 3. This is an overloaded operator, right? 1
Mhm.
plus 2 equal to 3. And you also can call a method called plus in number. Groovy, any object is an overloaded method. X plus y of 3, that is the operator you pass it, parameter. So what happens? It takes this value 2. When you say plus, it automatically adds that value to the method on which you are calling, object on which you are calling. So x equal to x plus y is what it is indeed doing. And the return
Mhm.
value is you are indeed asserting it against value 3, right? And you are
Mhm.
also doing the assertion of class. X instance of integer, right? See here, nothing comes. You can
Because
also
everything is true.
do this x dot class. See, it's equivalent to x dot get class. Both are same as I told you, right?
Mm.
Println x dot class equals y dot class. You can assert this as well. Both of them should be same.
Mm.
It is println is true. When you do println, it prints true. What if you do assert?
Nothing. It won't do anything.
As long as it becomes the expression evaluates
True.
true, it doesn't do anything.
Correct.
If you evaluate this to be a string dot class, it fails. You know that, right?
Because it's in integer. Yep.
So that's an assertion. And the class strings we will see. I've already shown you a taste. We have already seen it.
Mm.
This is something called G string. If you okay, strings, what we'll do. Strings are case sensitive in Java, right?
Mhm.
String s equal to Groovy. You simply print it. Println equal to yes, it prints the value. In
Yep.
Java, you do in Groovy, you define the strings in both. In Java, you can only give it in double quotes. String value should be enclosed in double quotes.
Mhm.
But in
Mhm.
Groovy, you can give it in single quote or double quotes.
Superb.
So both are same, right? But there is a difference. Let's assume this works, single quoted string, right?
Yeah.
I change this to single quoted string to make it meaningful,
Mhm.
right? You
Mhm.
can do this as well, doesn't matter. But what if I want to print it inside this. Like this. You can invoke a property, right? What happened? It prints as it is as a literal. Within the long statement, you want to put the property, dynamic value to be replaced. Person's name is Shyam, and he works as this. So this is called string interpolation. String interpolation, right? This doesn't work in single quoted string. Whereas you do the same thing in double quotes. In this case, Groovy tries to replace the property. It accesses the property and replaces it, right?
Okay. Yep.
You see, now you get the value Groovy.
Hmm.
You interpolate a string, now it comes as Groovy. That's the difference. The variable value will be replaced in a double quotes. That's the difference, right? So obviously we define a nick and profession. Just I gave a name. Nickname is Rags. I gave it. Profession is a Groovy teacher. See, you see here double quotes, and also this brackets is off. You can simply give $1 alone. It's as good as that, right?
Beautiful, sir.
It is a dollar profession. You can do this as well. Doesn't matter. It's optional. Curly braces. You see here, it prints this. I am asserting it here. Rogs is a Groovy teacher. I'm asserting. That's what will come here as well. So assertion, when it becomes true, what does it do?
Nothing.
Exactly. It doesn't give you any output, neither an error. It sits quietly. But you can be rest assured that the program script is working fine with the expected values. That's what you are asserting. It's more like ascertaining in English. In programming language, we assert it. String.length we assert that as well. Equals 5.
Very sir.
It's a very simple taste of string. The next class we will look at it at decent methods of string and collection.
Excellent. Right? You are amazing. Really. I mean,
one more
you are a very seasoned person. Solungo.
Thank you. One last example.
Level.
Thank you. One last thing for an XML. You wanted for an XML, right? So let's look at XML here.
XML builder.
Yep. So XML parsing. Just a quick example. This little detail we'll take a look. There's something called
full meals slurper.
Yep.
Sorry.
XML slurper is a class. What I want to do, I'll show you that. See, I have an XML file called customers.xml. I'm just defining an XML here. Customers is my parent tag. Inside I have a corporate customer and consumer customer.
Right.
I have each customer element. Each customer name as Bill Gates, company Microsoft, just I defined it. Name as company Apple, name as Larry Ellison, company Oracle. I have 3 customer elements defined inside the corporate customers. And I have consumers. John Doe, maybe 2 different John Does I have. I want to parse this XML, print it in such a way that I take the corporate customer name and he works for which company. That's what I'm going to output it. How easy it is to do it in Groovy. Let's take a look at, and with that we'll close the class today. Yeah.
That is it.
XML parsing. See, this is what I do. Forget about all this. Define customers, and XML slurper is a class defined in XML package. And as of now you know what do we do? New XML slurper means what? We are
instantiating that
slurper, and you call a constructor here. No method parsed. With that instance, you invoke a method called parse. Parsing is a technical term, means you read through the file. That's what it's called, parsing. Here it takes a file. You want to pass an XML file as an argument. What is the argument you pass it here?
New file. Basically,
you create a variable name. You pass a file instance. You give the path. Here I have
the file itself has its property of giving that path. Yeah.
This fully defined path, I give customers.xml. That's what we just took a look a while ago.
Yes.
And I'm passing. Now you just print customers. Just print customers. You get this. print customers, why it doesn't give? Because it's an instance. Customers is an instance. XML slurper doesn't have anything. That's why it doesn't print anything. Maybe we'll take a look at in the next session of the how do you make use of other methods. And what am I doing? For customer in, each customer in, take a look. Customers is a hold of entire XML where dot corporate. What did we have? Customers and then corporate and consumer is the two different sub elements. Inside corporate, we have each customer. 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
That's what
Yes.
I'm going through the nested structure. What am I doing? Each customer, you print this. That's the element hold. So let's take a look at it here. I print this customers dot corporate dot each customer. 1, 2, 3. I get a hold of this through XML slurper class where I access the property customer dot at the rate of name, customer name, and then this works for is a static string, and customer dot at the rate of company is a property. When I print this, that's what you get. Bill Gates works for Microsoft, Tim Cook works for Apple, Larry, you can do anything. See, you get a hold of this element as it is, complete an object of this class. Customer is an object, you get it. Whatever property you have, anything you can define, play around, you can do anything you want.
Done.
That's the whole.
Sorry, sir.
Okay.
Sorry, sir.
This is a taste of XML. Right. So that is all with it. Maybe this list also we have just looked at it today, right? Immutable.
Sorry, sir. No problem.
Make sense?
சரி அடுத்த கிளாஸ் எப்ப பண்ணலாம்?
நாளைக்கே
20.
we will have it
சார்
tomorrow.
நாளைக்கு என்ன பிரச்சனைனா நாளைக்கு ஒரு ஃப்ரெண்ட் கல்யாணம்.
சரி நாளைக்கு பண்ணிக்கலாம்.
காலையில 10 மணி நாளையில இருந்து கொஞ்சம் நம்ம ஒரு 1-2 hours கூட போலாம் சார்.
Very good. We will do that. நாளைக்கு மார்னிங் வச்சுக்கலாம். Okay?
நாளைக்கு நம்ம காலையில வச்சுக்கலாம் 24th.
How is it so far? Today's class also?
Excellent. Excellent. You are another level, sir. Your class is another level, sir.
Thank you so much.
Really.
So please, as a request, you please practice it.
See, and the thing with the payment is, I am thinking of substantial or 3-4 மணி நேரம் இருந்ததுன்னா ஒன்னாவே நான் பண்ணலாம்னு நினைச்சேன்.
Sure.
It is up to you. It is all your choice, not my
No
choice. I think ஒரு டைம் ட்ரான்ஸ்ஃபர் பண்றதுக்கு அந்த ஃபீஸ் நான் இங்க இருந்து கொடுப்பேன் அந்த
We will do it.
அந்த மாதிரி நினைச்சேன் நான் நினைச்சேன்